And that was At Vance with Two Kings off of Dragon Chaser. Before that, Ed Guy with Wake Up the King off of Theater of Salvation. Symphony X with King of Terror off of The Odyssey. And Toto with King of the World, kind of the what the heck is that song doing here tonight song off of Falling in Between. It's the top of the hour. I'm Ken the Metal Professor. You are tuned in to WVLP. Your radio dial should say 103.1 FM, and if you're hearing me and it's not there, something's wrong with your radio. You can also listen to us on WVLP.org. The reason that I have, if you noticed a pattern there in the song titles, they all have the word king in them, and the reason for that is that joining me in the fancy WVLP studio is Mr. King Bishop. Welcome to the station.
Well, thank you. It's great to be here. I don't care for that one song, Wake Up the King, because I hate to get woken up.
Oh, yeah. Don't we all? I'm going to enjoy this week, though. My kids are on spring break, and so they don't, usually they have to wake up earlier than me and my wife do. And so now that they don't have to get up this week, it's going to be really hard for me to get the motivation to get up. At some point, I'll have to.
Yeah, I suppose.
So during the next hour, you're going to select some tunes for us to listen to, play guest DJ for a little bit. Then at 9:30, we'll talk wrestling, and you can bring us up to speed on ARW Pro and what's going on there.
I will try.
Okay, we'll do our best. I want to mention a fundraiser we have going on. WVLP is a nonprofit organization, and the only way we get by is through sponsorships and donations. So this is where I point that out and let you know how you can contribute. On Sunday, April 9th, from 6 to 8 p.m. at Valparaiso University at the Center for the Performing Arts, otherwise known as the VUCA, we have an event called Stars Over Valpo. And so this is 2 hours of music played by local artists who are coming in to give a little bit of their time so that folks can give a little bit of support to the station. So tickets are $20 a piece. You can purchase them from the station here. You can give a ring to 476-9000 and say, I need 40 tickets. You can write info@wvlp.org to say, I would like 1 ticket. Whatever it is you would like to do, tickets are still available. Some of the local artists that will be performing include, I'm not going to read them all because I think we're up to 23 now. But we got Chad Clifford and Robert Rolf Feddersen and Jason Murphy, Patty Schaffner, the Code Names, Mimi Matsuda, keyboardist extraordinaire Waz from Freak Johnson, Ripley Street, and on and on. So if you would like to help out the station and listen to some good tunes while you're at it, get some tickets, make your family come, don't give them a choice. That's Sunday, April 9th, 6 to 8 p.m. at Valparaiso. And as you're listening to WVLP, you will hear a lot more about this the next couple of weeks. All right, so King Bishop is with us. And just to, I don't know for what reason, but I'm going to, real quick, the songs that I played in the first hour, I announced some of them, but The King of Fools, now don't read too much into that title. I didn't pick it for any reason other than the word king was in the title.
Well, I'm sure there's some people who would agree with that, but I find that distasteful.
I'm so sorry. We got Time to Be King, Hall of the Mountain King, King of Whitewater, The Man Who Would Be King, King for a Day. Oh, wait, no, I skipped that one. Sorry. King of the World, King of Terror, Wake Up the King, and that's the one you didn't like either.
No.
And Two Kings, which is also false, because there can only be one, right?
There really is only one.
There is only one.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we've been discovering
that you are... order. Make sure that happens.
You are a man of many talents and interests that we share. We got comics and horror movies, and especially music and wrestling. And so you not only are ready to talk wrestling in a while, but you're going to exercise your musical Joneses by sharing some of your favorites and your originals with us here.
Well, this is kind of the first song I want to play is kind of a combination of some of those things because it's called Attack of the Ghost Riders by a couple from Sweden or someplace over in Europe, and everything like that. It's on the other side of Wanata. Anyway, called the Attack of the Ghost Riders. It's pretty one of my favorite songs.
Are they related to Ghost Riders in the Sky?
Or the Ghost Rider that sold his soul to get to the devil to save his sister's life.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. And the band is the Ravenettes?
The Ravenettes.
The Ravenettes.
Yeah.
the scars on Venus. Devil walks between us. Ice burns as the tissues fades. Turning love into a masquerade. Sad memory of a love turns bad. Heartbreak that drives a lover mad. A violent suffer and a desperate act. A tragic move that you can't take back. She stands alone in a frigid hell. No longer whole, just a depressed shell. She glares through eye holes of her stomach mouth. And drifting others from a steel flask. Who left the scars on Venus. Devil walks between us. Acid burns as the tissue fades. Turn life into a masquerade. Who left the scars on Venus? The devil walks between us. Acid burns as the tissue fades. Turns the life into a masquerade. Who left the scars on Venus? The devil walks between us. Acid burns as the tissue fades. Turn your life into a masquerade. Who left the scars on Venus? The devil walks between us. Acid burns as the tissue fades. Turned her life into a masquerade. Who left the scars on Venus? The devil walks between us. The acid burns as the tissue fades. Turned her life into a masquerade. Who left the scars on Venus? The devil walks between us. Who left the scars on Venus? The devil walks between us. Who left the scars on Venus? The devil walks between us. Who left the scars on Venus?
And that was a King Bishop special. And I'm just going to let you take this one in terms of talking about that song and the one before it.
Well, like I say, it's a happy little song about a girl who her lover went mad and threw acid in her face, and now she lives alone in a big castle, and it's always cold. And I just wanted to briefly say that was by King Bishop and the Desert Ghost, and Desert Ghost is my friend Barty who lives out in Phoenix, Arizona, who wrote all the music and played all the instruments on that, whereas I just sang and wrote the words and looked cute. Just stood around and looked cute most of the time. So, hopefully everybody enjoys that, and if not, please don't write to the station or to myself, because I don't care to read it, so. Mm-hmm.
So it was your job to look good on the CD cover and get all the sales.
Always. Actually, I looked like an Oriental woman, so I'm, that's hard for me to do, being an old white guy, so,
And what do we have coming up next here?
Oh, the next song is one of my favorite guys is by T-Rex, and I try to listen to T-Rex music every day because it always cheers me up. He's he writes absolutely crazy lyrics and plays guitar not greatly. So the things that I would be upset about other artists doing, I think are just fantastic by him. So here's the 20th Century Boy.
How does he play guitar with those tiny little T-Rex arms?
He can't do a solo.
We walked along tall blades of grass, through flowers and stones from distant past. We searched the land for any clue, for blood or tears mixed with the dew. In the night garden, walk the night garden, come and see what we can find. Don't walk alone, stay by my side. You'll never know what may arise. The souls of those who cannot pass, their anguish tied to blades of grass. To fear the dark would make us fools. Respect the night and all its rules. Pay attention to each sight and sound. Respect the night and hollow ground. In the night garden, walk the night garden, come and see what we can find. We pretend we understand, as we are clutched by spectral hands. They lead us to a world beyond, as we evoke a ghostly bond.
Oh, that boy can sing. He's fantastic, isn't he, folks?
Now, I'm going to get his autograph someday.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
So-
cost $1.
You-
So,
I'll see what I can do. I'll go out to the car and dig change out of the old what used to be the cigarette tray or something. So tell us about that song. It's got another happy story to it.
yes,
just like the other one.
it's another cheerful one. I tried to sell it to Celine Dion. She wouldn't. She said, "Get out." Basically, it's called Night Garden, and it's by me and my friend, the Desert Ghost, and it's about a young couple walking through a field and finding out that the souls that can't pass on to heaven or hell are stuck in the blades of grass in the night garden. So, I had a tortured youth. What can I tell you? So.
Did they at least help keep the weeds down?
Yeah, no, well, they didn't mow, and so, but I mean, the grass would wrap around their legs and stuff like that, and they'd scream and such, so.
Now, we've played two King Bishop
And Desert Ghost.
and Desert Ghost originals here,
Yes, we did.
and I'm seeing the CD now. Is this actually out there like anywhere that people can? Is it on Bandcamp or anything like that?
It is available in some of the finest flea markets in this area.
Excellent.
Yeah. So no, actually, just kind of one of those things that it's just something that we did for ourselves, and we made copies and gave them away. And if somebody wants a copy, then they're $25. So, yeah.
But if somebody's out there in the right place at the right time and they kind of hit the garage sale or the flea market and they pick up and move aside that wooden picture of the old lady bending over in the garden, set that aside.
I love that. I love that.
There might be one of these behind there to
Yeah,
be found.
it could be. It could
Okay.
be. Anything,
All right. Now you're actually going to exercise your metal love here, and you've picked a song for us by Nightwish. You want to
Yes.
say why you like what it is and why you like it so much?
I wish I could explain it. It's just one of those things where I started hearing Nightwish, the song called Amareth, and a song called Nemo were the first ones that I had ever heard, and I just really got into it. I thought it was very good.
So you're saying music is a subjective experience?
Without a doubt.
Oh my gosh.
Without a doubt.
Okay, so here's Nightwish with Nemo off of Once, and then I think after that we'll have time for maybe one more short tune before 9:30. And that was Blue Oyster Cult. And that was an echo. That explains why I should turn off the speakers before we start yakking. So you picked that the last two songs for us, the Nightwish song Nemo, and then that one by BOC.
Yeah, BOC, man, that's my band, so.
And how many times did you say you've seen them?
I couldn't really even count, but it's definitely over 20. I know that I've gone and seen them before Secret Treaties had come out. I came out and saw them when they were touring with Tyranny and Mutation, and Aerosmith opened for them. So that's how long ago that was.
When Aerosmith is the opening act.
It was the opening
that was a while
act.
ago.
Yes, it was.
Do they recognize you now? Hey, it's him again.
The people in Aerosmith do, but that's just not really. They've had so many changes in the band. Really, there's only two original members anymore, but two important members. But we definitely. I blew my chance to meet him here. I went outside and smoked a cigarette and came back in, and my wife and the wife of my friend were saying, "Hey, well, yeah, they just walked by us, said hi." So,
you missed it.
So I could have met Buck Dharma and Eric Bloom and blew that opportunity. So, yeah.
One of my saddest musical stories is what happened to my vinyl collection. I had about 600 records. They were in record crates. They had survived moves from Ohio to the East Coast, back to the Midwest, up here to Valparaiso. Got married, moved into a house, water in the basement, kaboom. Yeah. And one of the records I had was Buck Dharma's solo album, Flat Out, and boy, do I miss that thing.
Yeah. He's a really underrated guitar player. He always has been,
All right, we're going to switch gears now and leave the music and talk about wrestling, and I have a little intro piece here to help us put on different hats and switch gears. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the Northwest Indiana Wrestling Action Program.
Your insubordination will not be tolerated.
I'm Ken the Metal Professor, and this is time for the Northwest Indiana Wrestling Action Program. Hello to new folks that have jumped in recently for this. Thanks to any of you still sticking around after Mostly Metal. My guest in the studio is King Bishop from ARW Pro. Is it redundant to say, no, it's Adrenaline Ringside Wrestling? Is that
Adrenaline Ringside Wrestling?
So to say ARW Pro Wrestling, is that a little redundant, like saying ATM Machine?
What are you, some kind of college professor, for crying out loud, What, are you going to grade my paper?
It's all, we got to have proper grammar here on WVLP.
Yeah, because independent wrestling is all about proper grammar.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. I will say that I did work a show one time where there was a sign outside of it that said, "Welcome resettlers." They had misspelled wrestlers.
Resettlers, huh?
Yes, absolutely.
So, obviously, you're a man of many hats. You've just played us some music that you helped.
I just wear that one big hat all the time. People get depressed if I don't have that hat. So,
you do have a good look when you come out there with the
good-looking guy. You got to tell you, Yeah.
And scarf. You wear a scarf?
No, scarves for sissies, and everything like that. I just have a black suit and usually a T-shirt, sometimes with Heckle and Jekyll on it, But and that's just always been my way.
So tell us what King Bishop is all about when folks encounter you at ARW Pro.
Well, I've recently had a change of attitude after 24 glorious years I've been in the business here. Now I'm kind of being nice to the fans and everything like that, and I've taken over as the owner. I bought some back taxes after somebody had absconded with the money, and now I'm a friendlier King Bishop than most people have ever seen before. I get a lot of people asking me, how long is this going to last? And I just usually flip a coin. I'm not sure, but I'm trying. I'm trying, folks. So get off my back. I'm trying. So, but up until this point, I was the, handing the guy the chain, throwing powder in people's faces, fireball throwing kind of guy that most people know and love. So, but now I'm a little bit nicer, I guess, so.
And in your role there, you've been... The reason you've been throwing chains and fireballs is acting as manager for tag teams and single individual. Are you still managing anybody at the moment?
No, not right now. Not
Too much
right
conflict
now.
of interest?
Not
there?
right now. Actually, being the owner, between me and my commissioner, Joey Boom Boom.
Friend of the show, he was here.
Keeps us busy. It keeps us all busy just trying to present as good of a wrestling show as Northwest Indiana's ever seen.
So take us back in the Mr. Peabody? Who's the
setting the Wayback?
The Wayback Machine?
Set the Wayback
yeah,
machine.
set the Wayback Machine. So right now you're the owner, and being in a position of fiscal responsibility like that, you're trying to do right by the fans. And before that, you were trying to do right by the people that you were managing, which meant you did what you had to do. How long was that? Did you do that, and did you do anything before that? What's the whole history here?
Like I started in about 92 or 93, and originally I started as a commentator. We had television, and I was a commentator on television, and then I started managing a little bit, and then the organization that we were in kind of blew apart, and two organizations came out of it, and became a guy behind the scenes helping run things for a long time until the early 2000s, and then worked for other people, and then we inherited the ARW, basically, and we've been involved in it ever since. ARW is run by Robert Krasinski and Joey Boom Boom and Don Bratton, who has been my longtime partner, and Robert Krasinski has been my longtime partner in crime. So between the four partners, we've been running now for about 6 years.
And so you've always been in the Northwest Indiana wrestling scene.
We have done Illinois, and we've done Wisconsin, and we did a lot of lower, Illinois and Indiana shows throughout all the years. But for the most part, we stay in this general area. So,
if people have not been to an ARW Pro show, what could they expect, and why should they go to one?
Well, the reason that ARW has been as successful as it has is that we always use top-level talent. We go and find a lot of guys who always end up on other people's shows as soon as we start using them. And we also are a bunch of guys who have had a lot of experience, and we've been doing this for a long time. And we are older guys who kind of use it, what was called the territories back in those days. And we just wanted to create our own little territory. A lot of folks who run wrestling shows and such nowadays, other promoters, really kind of just grew up on WWE and this kind of stuff and never saw anything else. I always tell people, I said I could have been a brain surgeon if I would have studied medicine as much as I studied Midnight Express squash matches, because we all were just really students of the sport in any way and every aspect of it. So I think we bring a lot of that to ARW shows. There's always storylines going on. There's always definite heels, definite baby faces, and people seem to like it and seem to have a good time.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's always very cost effective because it's generally about $10.
Always $10
a ticket?
Always $10. Yeah.
Most of the shows happen at the American Legion in Lake Station, although you
American-
branch out to, say, a local high school or some other location. And a lot of times
Absolutely.
because of fundraisers going on.
Yeah, and we do a lot of that, and a lot of our stuff is charity work, to where half the door or partial proceeds go to. We've done for high schools, and for recently we just did a Hammond High School, Morton, where the kids that were in the band were in a big competition, and we're the only people of all the schools that were involved in this competition that didn't have uniforms. So we raised uniform money. They have uniforms
Nice.
now. So, like I say, we've and there are times when we have just a particular people who are having a hard time paying medical bills, and we will have a fundraiser. We had one at Moose Lodge in Hobart for that. We had one down in Rensselaer. We've done a lot of that kind of stuff. Definitely always part of the community. We always feel like it's our responsibility to be a part of the community and to help the community around us.
Yeah.
So
And with the risk of sounding a little, self-congratulatory on the side of the station here, WVLP, a lot of people might wonder, well, why would this radio station want people to come on and talk about wrestling, or especially local pro wrestling? But that's one of the biggest reasons.
because they're
is that-
smart. That's what it
because
is.
they're smart, and
Yeah.
it's all about ratings, baby.
Yeah.
But this is, we call this the Valparaiso community radio station, right? It's all about community, and people, I think, would be surprised at the amount of good community work that you guys and other organizations do with fundraisers and things like that. So,
We try, and what you get, and like I say, we don't, we're not gouging people on prices. It's $10. It's something that an entire family can come and enjoy. It's always family friendly, and when you have you're able to bring your whole family in and have a hot dog and have Cokes, and getting out of there for a fairly decent price, or for cheaper than it is to go to the movies or anything like that at all. And what you get for your money is very entertaining. And people, they don't turn away from our shows and say, oh man, we didn't like that, or we didn't, they're usually excited at the end of the night. They had a good time.
yeah. And
So.
I've never had a bad hot dog yet.
Yeah, there's good hot dogs. Somebody had told us one time that our hot dogs were even better than Speedway's, and we don't know how to take that. So
Maybe I'll have to go to Speedway and try one of
you
their
have
hot
to have
dogs.
have to have a comparison, I suppose. That's the way.
Well,
it
we
is.
need a
Yeah.
controlled experiment. Exactly.
Absolutely.
So, in terms of what's going on right now, there's a lot of folks that consistently appear on ARW shows, and I kind of jotted a few down to mention, like Max Holiday, the Picture Show, John Hudson, the All American Scumbags, a friend of yours, or at least who used to be Dante DVS, and of course.
I have no friends, but
Uncle
go ahead.
Charlie, Uncle Charlie, people who are willing to be seen with you, Uncle Charlie and the family.
Uncle Charlie is willing to be obscene with me. That's how that guy is. But just let me say that on April 8th at the Legion in Lake Station, up on top, we have a match called the Four Corners of Doom. And some people here in Valpo probably think that is when the roundabout gets full, with nervous people. And
Don't get me started on that.
we'll have Max, who is our heavyweight champion right now, and we have Rough Crossing coming in. And what we're really excited about is the fact that a couple of years ago, one of our most popular guys who ever wrestled for ARW was a man named Grin. Grin was just absolutely beloved by the ARW fans, and he hadn't been with us for a while, and he is returning on April 8th in the Four Corners of Doom match. We'll have Molly and Renee Van Peebles. Moxie Molly has just recently been in the corner of our Indiana champion Dakota Boyer, and now she is actually going to have a match on her own. It'll be the first time in the ARW for her to have a match, and with a worthy opponent in Renee Van Peebles. Dakota Boyer, or Dakota Prodigy, I should say, who is our Indiana champion, will probably be going against probably one of the most skilled guys that he's ever had to face in Angel Armani. Angel Armani was the man who trained Silas Young and Austin Aries and half of the guys in NXT right now. And
he smells good, too, right?
And he is I don't get that close. So basically, he's been a friend of mine for a lot of years, and I still don't know why. We will have Fatal Attraction vying for the ARW Tag Team Championship. Fatal Attraction is Kevin Graves, who has been one of the most beloved members of the ARW. The fans have always loved this guy.
Until last month.
Until he decided that he, like myself, has decided to change into a different attitude, but, and formed his alliance with Spike Davis, and also joined into the Moretti agency. We're going to have the Punisher 747 and Willie the Bomb Richardson taking on the family, and there's just some volatile things really about ready to explode there. Dante has been pretty upset because he beat Santana Starks in a loser leave town match. And suddenly we have the Masked Cubby who's been showing up here, and Dante insists that the Masked Cubby is actually Santana Starks.
And you gave him a chance to try to prove that last show.
I thought I did, He
very kind of you and generous.
Couldn't bring me the mask. If he can bring me the mask, we'll send him away. And we're also going to have Nick Cutler, and there's other wrestlers who will be on this show. And believe me, it's one of those things when you look on paper at an ARW show, it can be fairly exciting. But when you're there, there's always so many surprises, and there's always so many things that you don't really see coming that looking at our posters, looking at our ads, looking at anything like that doesn't do it justice. So, folks, you just got to be there. And it's $10, So,
and with all the names that you mentioned, so many of those are there over and over and over again. So somebody comes to a show for the first time, and they decide, I really like watching Max Holiday, or I really like watching, even though he's kind of a jerk now, I really like watching Kevin Graves. You can be pretty sure that isn't, you're going to get to see them the next time and the next time.
Yeah, stories move along. The guys tend to say, but we do not. We always have new people. We always move some things around, and there's always, like I say, we have a women's match.
Sure.
We have Grin returning. There are always big surprises every show. So it's just something that people need to come and see, and I promise you, folks, you won't be disappointed.
So say a little bit
and
about...
I'll be there,
of course,
which
that's
is the most important thing, But,
Chaz Moretti, how long has he been around, and do you kind of look on him as a younger version of you, or...
No, are you kidding with that face?
You appreciate what he's doing?
Oh, for crying out loud, and everything like that. That guy, I'm just, he's just somebody that I haven't found a vaccine for yet, and maybe I can get him out of here one of these days. But, again, it's, there were a lot of people who try to be King Bishop, but, there's really only one. Now, King Bishop is on the side of the fans, so I guess there has to be a Chaz Moretti around. But I just don't really, And for that matter, there's a guy named Mr. White.
Mr. White, yeah.
And Mr. White has been missing in action, and nobody's known exactly what's going on with him. And I personally don't trust it because he never stays gone for too long.
Is he embarrassed by the whole tax snafu thing that allowed you to make the move?
That's where the money went.
Yeah.
Allegedly. As far as the legal action go, I have to use the word allegedly.
Allegedly.
Yeah, but... Yeah, he was the one assigned to pay those taxes, and somehow it just didn't get paid.
Whoops.
Mm-hmm. Well, people are like that.
Yeah.
Money brings out the worst in everybody, so.
You mentioned Dakota Prodigy, and he's, ever since I started following the local shows, he's been one of my favorites, and he's come a long way in a pretty short amount of time working with you guys, too.
He's a great kid. He's a great kid, and he is all heart. And he has worked his way. He won the Lionheart contest that we had going last year. Never won a match throughout the entire thing, but by showing the heart that he did, he got included into the finals because he had gotten a victory over one of the mainstays of ARW, and he ended up winning it. And now he ended up pulling the complete surprise over it, then pulling the wool over everybody's eyes just for the fact that he was now our Indiana champion. And he's a young man who is all heart and gives 110% every time he's out there. So
now, in terms of title holders, you've got Max Holiday with the heavyweight title. You've got Dakota Prodigy with the Indiana State.
Title, yeah.
And is it the Picture Show that are the tag team titles
Absolutely.
holders?
Picture Show are the tag team titles. And Picture Show have been with us throughout, and this will be the second or third time that they've actually held the title here. And, they're favorites and, have been a part of ARW from day one, But now Fatal Attraction is nothing to sneeze off.
Sure.
You gotta watch, and they have Moretti in their corner. So, I don't know. I don't know whether, they've been, the Picture Show has been beating the Storms somehow or another by barely beating Kevin and Theo Storm. But I don't know. They might be so worn down, anything can happen. So.
And the Picture Show is Johnny Showtime and Marcus Portrait?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they are, you said they're favorites, and you can definitely tell that. They get one of the biggest reactions, I think, when I've been at many of the shows now, and consistently one of the best fan reactions when they come out.
Yeah, they've always been very popular, and like I say, when we first started up ARW back in 6 years ago, they were around. Johnny Showtime was our heavyweight champion for a while. Marcus Portrait had been an Indiana champion. They've had between the two of them, they've held all the belts that we've ever had. So they're for real.
Yeah, and when the kids that come to the show, of the folks that the kids will take the time to make posters for,
absolutely,
they seem to be one of the ones that gets the most artistry out of the fans.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. They used to make posters for me, but I can't say those on public radio. So just what happens.
Now I'm gonna display my ignorance about sort of the history of the organization and wrestling in this area, since I've really only been following it myself for a couple of years now. Somebody who I've seen at a couple of different events that apparently has really deep roots in this is Slick. I honestly don't know who he is. I mean, other than I've seen him at a few shows, but he's obviously rooted deep. Can you? What's his story?
Slick was a friend that. In the old RWA days, which was the precursor for the ARW. He was around with us pretty much since the beginning. And he just recently kind of retired into, our Hall of Fame. And as far as one of our members of the Hall of Fame that we have, he was, I believe, the first member that we put in there. He's just been a friend and part of our family for quite a while. So he's been missing the last couple of times because his health hasn't been as great. But I'm sure he'll be back.
Okay.
So.
And in terms of the people that we see a lot, one of the, I guess I'd call them one of the, I don't know if they're major movers, biggest forces, certainly one of the biggest disruptions is the family.
Yeah,
with
absolutely.
Uncle Charlie and Ivan and OSM,
Mike,
old school Manson, Mike Anthony,
yeah,
Joey
yeah.
Rack. So what's it like trying to keep them under control?
I'm new at this, Yeah, usually we kind of just sit back and watch and say, "Wow, man, I hope none of that gets on my shoes." When they were, tearing everything up. Now I've had to suspend Mike Anthony on a show and do a few things, and it's definitely the roughest part of my job.
So you don't enjoy doling out the discipline?
Oh no, absolutely not. It's just something. It's just something I'm unaccustomed to.
Sure.
Usually I was the one. That all the security guards were following. So I'm learning. I'm learning as it goes along, and that's what I ask the ARW fans is to forgive me, folks. I'm new on the job.
What's been the most satisfying thing then, and as you've turned over a new leaf and coming out with a different perspective the last couple of times?
To go around and slap a kid's hand and realize that he hasn't spit in it first, and that's pretty appealing, and then because I went through a lot of handkerchiefs that way, but no, it's great when we have the greatest fans in the world, and they're a part of our family, they're a part of our community, and we just all like to, anything that makes them happy. And that's the biggest, charge that anybody can get is when the fans are really happy.
Yeah.
And our fans always seem to be very happy. I don't know if it's the dollar beers or not, but but
it doesn't hurt.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt me. So I'm just saying, we just enjoy it. We've been doing this for a while, and I think we've gotten better at what we do, and I just think it's an easy, good time for everybody.
Sure. And as you come out now with a noted lack of, a chain hiding in the pocket or
You don't know that.
Well, that's true. You gotta always be prepared.
Old habits are hard to break. Let me tell you.
Be prepared.
Yeah.
But let's say less of a chance of seeing it, or a little jar of something acidic you could spray in somebody's face. What's the thing you miss most about being with that leaf?
Throwing ether in somebody's face, of course. I'm always going to miss that. What the most frightening thing that ever happened to me was, when I had a bunch of 6 and 7-year-old kids, when I pulled out a bottle of ether and everybody goes, "Oh my gosh, he's got ether!" It's like, how do you know what ether is? But I was kind of surprised at that.
See, people complain about our educational system, but if the 6th graders know what ether is, I mean, that's a good sign.
I assume it was the way some of them were conceived. So just one of those things.
Yikes.
Yeah, what can I say?
So you talked about the show that's coming up April 8th, and
April 8th
gave some of the names on that. Now, you guys actually have that's the most immediate show coming up, but you have a fairly regular schedule of running about once a month on the Is it the second?
It's
Saturday?
usually the second Saturday of the month, and although we usually take June and December off, but truth be told, there's talk of shows happening in those months as well. So a lot of times whenever we try to take time off, fans and our venues ask us not to. And so that's why we do as many as we do, to be honest with you. I was happy when we were doing 8, and then we did 10. And now, like I say, we've already been asked for a June show, and also a December show. I believe we're talking with the Toys for Tots people for a December show.
Nice.
And there's another, it'll be a charity thing that we do in June. So, sometimes they won't, let us take the time, which I thought, oh man, they're sick of seeing us, but no, not really. I guess not.
It's nice to be wanted.
Yeah, it is. It is indeed.
And all these will be within a very reasonable driving distance of Valparaiso, if not maybe even in Valparaiso at some point.
Absolutely. And there are talks with people in Valpo. So, like I say, there are definitely, we're all in Northwest Indiana. We had been running in Hobart, the building sold, but Portage and Lake Station and all around this area and Hammond, we're always very close. It's all, we don't venture too far away.
Okay, and so just to wrap up here, because this period disappears really fast all the time. If people want to keep up, what's the best way to do that? Web pages,
Go to
Facebook,
our
etc.
Facebook page of ARW Pro Live. We'll take as many members as want to join in. We always have the current information. We feature videos and lots of stuff. So it's a fun little page to go to. Please go and check it out.
Okay.
ARW Pro Live.
ARW Pro Live, and there's also a Twitter account. Is there? Maybe not used as much, but certainly I think it's there.
You're talking to a 60-year-old man. I don't know what a Twitter account is, So, somebody has one, but I can't because I don't even know where my car keys are. So,
Well, do some jumping jacks until you hear them jingling.
Oh, jumping jacks, like I could do that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you very much for spending time here on WVLP. I'm Ken, the Metal Professor, with King Bishop from ARW Pro. Check them out Saturday, April 8th at the American Legion in Lake Station. Doors will open at 6:30, show at 7:30.
Always.
As always. All right. And open invitation to come back anytime you got a show coming up, you want to talk about something.
Okay, well, I appreciate that. Thank you for having me.
This is WVLP. You're listening to 103.1 FM in Valparaiso, and coming up next is Punk Rock Radio.